The next program for schools and colleges.
Originating in Greece, students are a special form of primate, first discovered in 387 BC by the academic Plato. However, over the last 2,000 years, the species has evolved dramatically. Today, the majority of students can now be found focusing on more primitive daily activities, such as hunting for the next meal, drinking vast amounts of alcohol, and trying to find the ideal mate. Few still have the iconic thirst for knowledge.
Species. Around the student habitat, the population is divided into particular breeds. At the heart of the university, the species are free to gather on a mutual ground adjacent to their most common source of nourishment. On this ground, the four most predominant breeds can be identified: Dorcas academica, Depressica bleedii, Dominata sportica, Egotisticus politicae. Dorcas academica are often found in the library and other isolated regions, such as computer rooms and science laboratories. This breed can be found fulfilling their academic requirements to further their chances in the forthcoming hunt for a career. Due to this relentless dedication, they are amongst the highest achievers of all students.
Oh, well, it's going! Oh, no. I told you not to have that one.
Their social ineptness increases a pre-established gender divide. This can lead to the species not finding a mate until sometime in their late 30s or early retirement. Depressica bleedii skulk on stairs, outside churches, and in the corners of dark rooms. As the saddest of the species, they have evolved to vent their multitude of frustrations on themselves rather than others, vocalizing each trivial discomfort. This emotive nature has helped to better their skills in the more creative arts, such as writing, painting, and music. Depressica bleedii are the most open breed of students to non-gender specific mating. More physically active than the other breeds, each member of Dominata sportica is continually challenged for dominance. Prioritizing team sports over all else, they most often gather on flat, open grounds such as football fields or gyms. They flaunt their muscular physique to compete with other males during the hunt for the most attractive female. The most smartly groomed of the students, Egotisticus politicae, thrive on planned activities and full schedules, hence only settling to feed. Their active interest in the world outside their territory gives them increased confidence and ego when interacting socially. This personality trait creates an attraction to the more executive leadership roles within the activities they pursue. Even mating is planned and considered carefully, left until the male and female mutually sense that the time is financially and emotionally right. Diet.
With their low budget and poor dietary standards, the typical student often has little to no food within their den. Students are often seen swarming to supermarkets in search of cheap and colourful convenience food provided for them by the hard-working non-student population. After a successful gather, they retreat back to their dens. This nutritionally unvaried collection is all a student needs to live for a week, as most energy will be acquired from their caffeine-enriched drinks. When it comes to feeding, these social creatures will become independent and rather territorial. With multiple students preparing meals, the competition for space is a regular occurrence. But in some cases, the alpha male becomes the alpha chef.
Back off!
Hungry, weak and malnourished, the student will go to extreme measures to fulfill its dietary needs with minimum effort and maximum taste. There are notable differences between the two approaches. Nevertheless, the passive student is often highly skilled with electronic devices. Unsanitary conditions often lead to outbreaks of food poisoning. Not even a cat would eat this low-quality food. The worst areas can be found around the sink. This environment becomes filled with dirty dishes, waste food and bottles. The debris surrounding a student sink often collects, reaching heights comparable to that of the neglectful student, before being tended by the more hygienic of the species. Sleeping patterns. Primarily nocturnal by nature, the typical student begins its day during the late afternoon. They sleep for an average of 1 to 24 hours before emerging from the pub. Then the student will revive itself from its long rest with beer left over from the previous day's hunt. After an additional rest, the student is prepared for the activities of the day ahead. The student will attend at least half an hour's worth of lectures or seminars a week. Originally designed to further the student's understanding of itself and the world around it, the lecture now provides another opportunity for the student to rest. In contrast, the student finds seminars a difficult place to sleep due to the smaller herds found in this environment. The student finds itself having to keep a watchful eye on the predatory lecturer. The student is its favorite prey. On very rare occasions, a student may find the opportunity to study.
This is achieved deep in the heart of the student's territory, the library. It is here at the library that the more intelligent members of the species can be observed due to the quiet nature of the habitat and the separation from the pack.
Study is a special yet curious custom. Studying is the act of copying words from one book into another, often without regard to their meaning. While seemingly a simple task, the student can only carry out this activity when separated from the rest of its pack. The evening is the most important and exciting part of the student's day. By this point, the majority of the pack are awake, and it is time to find a mate for the evening. Found hunting in large groups, a student often has to use loud calls and bold movements to attract potential partners. Courting will then take on the form of song and dance. Students club in their local common room, for this is the most popular place for potential mating. Unfortunately, when clubbing is combined with a high consumption of alcohol, it can lead to disastrous side effects and often ruin the pack's chance to mate. For the less dominant members of the herd, a more subtle approach is taken. Using an intricate series of electrical signals, the student will send a friend request. This can often lead to a successful pairing for even the most reclusive of the species. At dawn, the student locates the most convenient place nearby. If lucky, it will remain there undisturbed until the body naturally wakes itself.
Dedicated, creative, explorative. Whatever students are, they are definitely one of the most interesting species to walk our earth.